This episode of the Commercial Real Estate Investor Podcast is brought to you by CRE Launch Pro. This online commercial real estate program is designed to take you from beginner to pro commercial real estate investor with access to all of my courses, our online community, and monthly group coaching calls. Learn how to confidently buy your first commercial property today at www.crelaunchpro.com. Welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Investor Podcast. If you've been following the channel today, this has been a day of live streaming. This is my third one of the day. Sometimes that is just how it kind of lines up, funny enough. But I get to take a break for the rest of the week, so well earned. This is a new series that we are introducing to the podcast on commercial real estate technology. That is something that is rapidly evolving, and as brokers and investors, it's obviously something that we need to stay on top of. And I couldn't think of anybody better to co-host this show with me than the one, the only, Nate Smoyer. Nate, what's going on, man?
Oh, what an intro. A lot's going on. I've been trying to drum up some roofing leads down in Texas.
Yeah, how's the new gig going?
It's been going great. Yeah, well, maybe I'm probably new to the audience here.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Why don't you? I'm being a terrible host. Why don't you give a brief background on yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Nate Smoyer. I live in the Black Hills area of South Dakota, so representing for the upper Midwest of the country. I work in prop tech, exclusively in marketing. Been in this industry for close to 7 years now, after having gone my own routes of trying to buy and sell real estate as an agent, as my own, being a landlord of my own, have some storage. I just decided I want to make this better, and that's why I've gotten to the prop tech industry. I'm at my third prop tech startup now. Company's called Roofer.com, vertically integrated, technology-powered roofing company. We leverage drones and AI to bring a modern roofing experience to consumers and enterprise owners. Our primary operation is based in Dallas as well as Austin. And we had some big hail last weekend. So hail damage.
It's always good news for a roofer.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's it's like a ready, set, go kind of moment when the hail hits. And it's quite an exhilarating ride. So it's been fun to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, excited to have you here. If y'all aren't familiar with Nate, go follow him on Instagram. He is a madman. I mean, the dude's out here running like 52-mile, cross country races. I don't know how you do that, man.
Well, no one's really counting, but the last race I did was almost 61 miles. So,
yeah. And here I am underselling you. Dude, I could barely run 2.
I'll tell you what, but not so that we don't digress too far into that. But the reality is, I've learned this, that there is little difference between endurance sports and business, and especially being in startups. It's a matter of mapping it out where you want to get to, and then working your way backwards, and then following the plan. So how I did it was actually really simple: eat every 30 minutes, stay in zone 2. And then move forward even when I didn't want to. Pretty basic.
I like eating. So if I could eat every 30 minutes, that's great.
Can you do that for 19 and a half hours straight?
Absolutely not. That's where that runner goo comes in handy. Get your like high density calories.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, Nate, who are we talking with today? Let's bring our guest in.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our guests. We've got Ashleykovich. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, so Ashley is Director of Partnerships at a prop tech company I think many of the show are very familiar with, Crexi. They're one of the fastest growing digital commercial real estate marketplaces. Her role, she's primarily involved working with individual brokers and organizations alike, shortening deal cycles, improving efficiencies, as well as providing additional value to their clients and members. Specifically leading tech-powered marketing and data analytics. And that's going to be some of the crux of our conversation. That's what we're going to get into here. But first we'll start with this, since Tyler was pointing out me doing ultra trail running and sports, you also do a lot of group fitness aside from the hustle and grind that is startups. like Peloton classes, or can you share a little bit more about what are the type of classes that you are leading?
Yeah, for sure. So fitness has always been a passion of mine. Working in sales, always being active since a young kid. Wanted to just push that into adulthood. So I got into group fitness and leading classes about 7 years ago. Started at Equinox, did a lot of HIIT training classes, every main studio format that they offered. And then I fell in love with Legree. So it's a form of Pilates. Joseph Pilates started that, and then Sebastian Legree started on the Megaformer. So it's high intensity, high impact on our big machines. So I'm currently teaching that, just bringing love for fitness and not just the physical benefits, but all the mental benefits that come with it as well to all of my clients.
Yeah, I'm starting to see a correlation between commercial real estate and high performance athletes. Most of my friends, I mean, I've been a weightlifter for years. Most of my friends do something a little crazy, whether that's extreme skiing or something like that. So it's a good way to get some stress relief with the day to day that we have to deal with. But Ashley, Crexi is obviously a platform. As a broker and an investor, we use absolutely every day. I mean, I can easily say that because we do. But tell us a little bit about Crexi and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so Crexi, as you mentioned, Nate, number one commercial real estate marketplace that's out there. So first and foremost, it's an open marketplace, meaning that anyone with an internet connection can go on and search for all available properties for sale, for lease. We also have an auction arm. So we never put a paywall between a buyer, tenant, and inventory. Right. So all of it's right on there. We obviously have other tools in addition to it, whether that's based for the individual investor to understand and survey, where should I buy? What should I buy? What does the market look like? What are the other sales comps? What are the demographics, environmental information? Looking at all of that. Developers as well, where they want to potentially develop. Can they buy land? What does it look like? All of that good stuff. And then, of course, from our listing brokers' perspective, how they can advertise, how they can get leads and get in contact with the people that are potentially looking at some of those properties that they have on market for sale and lease.
Yeah, very cool. I know it's one of my, if I can't sleep up in the middle of the night, and invariably every Friday evening after work, go-to sources of entertainment.
Yep.
I've loved watching the transformation. A few years ago, if I brought up Crexi in a conversation, I would have to, people would say, who or what is that again? And I would explain to them, and you guys have really moved the ball. It was web only. Then you guys launched the mobile app, I think, which was like took it to the next level. And then even some of the search experience has really changed. Can you talk more about how the evolution of the tech itself and the platform itself has really aided in the process of transactions, specifically when we think about like shortening the time of closing a transaction or even sourcing, buyers for sellers in the time of the transaction there?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I've been at Crexi for 4.5 years, almost 5 years now. So I've seen the platform just go from a sales platform, then we added leasing, then we added intelligence, comps, ownership contact information, private loan data, all of this stuff that can just help in every single area of the commercial real estate experience. You mentioned the app. We have a swipe feature. So I don't know if that's what you use, 1, 2 a.m., kind of looking. It's almost like the Bumble or Tinder, so to speak.
Better than Tinder.
I haven't used that.
Property swipe now.
I'm old school. I use the map.
Okay, great. Well, even on the mobile app now, as you're walking around literally in your own neighborhood, you'll actually pull up every single property and you'll be able to see if it's actively listed on the market, if it was a comp, what the ownership was, what the transaction history is, what the loan data was. All of that information will just seamlessly come up. So in terms of shortening deal cycles, there's a lot of different things. Individual owners, developers, investors will come onto Crexi and find their property that much easier. Right? You can literally go outside in your market and see, what's available. You can look online. We have all of the available inventory, right? We don't close it behind any paywalls. So it's accessible to anyone, right? I'm sitting here in LA. If I wanted to buy a property or look around Nashville, maybe Franklin area, I can easily go and see that, contact the broker. So for me purchasing or potentially leasing something, that's going to speed up the transaction there. And then from the brokerage side, for all of our maybe listing agents and things like that that are on live with us, is just the speed to market. So we're giving you all of the available people who are actually in real time looking at your listing, so you can go ahead and contact them and say, hey, do you want to take a tour of 123 Main Street? And just having the ability to proactively allow them to reach out and contact. Plus, we actually market out the property as well. So kind of joked about that Tinder swipe feature, but we're using, AI and machine learning to understand, Tyler, you might be looking for multifamily, certain number of units, certain price point, certain area. We understand that. So we're going to serve you specific emails, or every time you go onto Crexi, we're going to kind of serve you that kind of information based on what you're viewing. So it kind of speeds up exactly what you're looking for as well.
Yeah, that email feature is pretty nice. I do get regular emails from Crexi, and it's great because, as soon as a property that checks the boxes that I'm looking for hits the market, it's in my inbox. I don't even have to go on Crexi once I've set that criteria. I mean, kind of what Nate was saying, in the last 12 months, I feel like you guys have blown up. It's been really interesting to watch. And great because, as a commercial real estate broker, there's no MLS, right? There is no one listing source that everybody has access to. And, it's really democratizing the whole commercial real estate investing process, which as a broker, when you're pitching that to a client, you want to make sure you're talking to that client and saying, look, I'm going to make sure that this property is seen by the most potential buyers possible. And when you have paywalls or NDAs and things like that you have to sign in order to even see the deals, it makes it, that much tougher. So can you talk about why you guys decided to build the platform and kind of where it's headed?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it, right? I mean, before, most of our founders, have come from some sort of commercial real estate, whether they were in it themselves as a broker, auction, etc. So they understood the frustrations in the industry, and that really is one, right? You have to spend a bunch of money on all of these tools. There really was no one place to access all of the deals, right? It's not like a residential property where they have an MLS and you can kind of go on and see all of that information. So we wanted to make one place where you can list all of your deals, get all of the commercial data and information for you to make educated decisions, and then just put it out there as a free site for everyone. Or if you needed more information, there are obviously upgrades and things like that you can purchase, but that's really our biggest tenet, is making that accessible for everyone, and allowing deals to get done at a quicker pace. So continuing to do that will always be a tenet for us. In terms of roadmap, it is just increasing the offering based on a lot of client feedback, honestly. So a lot of times we'll implement something based on client feedback. We take that very seriously. So people want to see different kind of information, right? All overlaid on top of each other. Maybe it's flood and fire risk, because that's really important for, site selection, right? Implementing that, pretty easy for us to do. We can come back to the client and say, hey, we just got a provider. We're going to put that in an overlay, or the way that they want to see reports exported or things like that to make your life easier. Those are the types of things that we want to keep implementing.
I've got a few follow-ups here, but I am curious. I mean, obviously the platform's open to everybody, but and so then, if I had something I wanted to sell and I'm not a broker, right?
Yeah.
In the resi world, we call it FSBOs. What's that like in the commercial world? Are you seeing consumers take advantage of that and self-listing, or are they still going to brokers? And then I've got a follow-up to that one too.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we don't think that technology is going to replace brokers, right? Brokers still have the advantage in the market. So in order to list something for sale, you do need to have broker representation. So we'll ask you to put in a broker's license before you do that. There can be for lease by owner, right? Some people want to lease out a certain office space and things like that. So if it meets that criteria, we can do that. But anything for sale, we do need broker representation on that.
Okay. Yeah, my follow-up was going to be how many people are doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, technology is awesome, but I mean, you guys know real estate is all about a relationship business, especially commercial real estate. And
Mhm.
we definitely think that brokers provide, the insight into the market and the advice that people need. So we, don't want to put anything out where brokers will not be necessary. So for anything listing, we do have to have broker representation on there.
Yeah, I mean,
For
as
Yeah,
sure.
a
and
as a broker, I definitely appreciate that, right?
Yeah,
Because it makes it helps protect my job. But
for sure.
playing devil's advocate here, right?
Mhm.
Um, is that a feature that you're going to maintain for the long term? You think? Because I could also see a time where it's like, hey, we're trying to protect brokers because we want to grow the platform. They have the most listings. They're the best target customer to start it off. Do you
Mhm.
think in 3-5 years y'all might open it up to everybody, or what's kind of the thought process behind that?
That's a great question. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm going to say no at this point, just because we do value that relationship so much. And it really is such an expertise in terms of selling. So I'm going to say no, but I'm not sure what the future holds. But we just do value, the broker opinion so highly. So I don't foresee that in the future.
I
Thank
wasn't
you.
going to try and open up a can of worms here and say, is the broker even needed anymore? We have the platform, we have photos, we have AI. Doesn't it do everything?
I don't want to be replaced by a robot, and I
Yeah.
don't think that anyone else does. I really think there's still that element to it. So for the foreseeable future, I think they're going to be here to stay.
There's a good book I read once called Open for Business that talks about the value of a broker in your corner.
Oh my
And so
gosh. That's great. So
Tyler's book, for those who don't know.
yeah, I was gonna say for those of y'all following the podcast, that's a book I wrote 6 years ago on leasing commercial real estate. So thank you for the plug there, Nate. Um,
That was totally
yeah,
natural. That's not in the script here.
Wait, no, I'm just kidding. It was
yeah.
natural.
No, I love it because I mean, it's look at some point a lot of what we do in commercial real estate will be automated out, but
Mhm.
the good thing about commercial real estate, at least for brokers for the time being, the transactions that we are working on are so complex that you can't really do what you do in residential, where it's like, okay, well, every 3-bedroom, 2-bath house within a 1 mile radius is a pretty good comp for this because every office building on the same block is going to be an entirely different beast. There'll be different sizes. They'll have different tenants. I mean, there's so many different variables that you have to take into account when selling them. So it makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
Now we know we weren't going to get through this conversation talking about AI. That's inescapable. 2 years ago, we were going to probably talk about blockchain, uh, but I think AI probably has a little bit more direct and immediate applications. I
Mhm.
think in the last year, we've seen an evolution from an emphasis on, hey, to write your listings descriptions for you. I think that's
Yep.
like the first thing that people went through, and
Yep.
then it was like, well, we can automate your email or some of your chatbots.
Mhm.
We're seeing with image enrichment. We're seeing with virtual tours. We're seeing, really in the construction tech, a lot of AI being used in documenting the process, which I think will further come into play down the line. Um, where is Crexi leveraging AI, and how should brokers be thinking about Crexi's use of AI and those tools to help their business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, with us, what we do on all of our pro listings, so if you are a pro member with us, we will use AI to help enhance your listing. So, we can actually just pull from, lat launch, some photos, and brief description. We can actually pull through a listing. And then, obviously, since we are a marketplace, we know what people are searching. We know what keywords they're searching. We know what areas. We know what the
Mm.
buzzwords are. So we'll put that into the listing and say, hey, this is pretty much, a 95% way that this is going to be, targeted. You're going to get through the most searches. This is what we think that you should use. You can go in and QC and change anything, but it'll at least give you that kind of go set right there. And then from the searching as well. So as we were discussing in the beginning, just the machine learning as well, and just kind of going through and making sure that we are actually targeting the users appropriately. So the people that are searching for the leases, that are searching for the sale listings, they're getting directly what they need.
So with all of those analytics, I mean, there's an unboundless array of things that you can do with that. But are y'all putting together, market reports and, quarterly updates and things like that for brokers and investors that they could get into?
Yeah, we do that. We have a team internally that does that, and we'll put out all of the reports. So we still do, kind of use and make sure that our in-house kind of experts are putting a handle on most of that writing and things like that, and kind of aggregating all of that information. And then we'll put them out on a quarterly basis. You can check out our Instagram, our blog, things like that. Our YouTube channel will probably have a lot of those things as well. We put them out on a quarterly and even sometimes monthly basis, depending on markets as well.
Naturally, you piqued my interest when you said what people search for.
Yeah.
What is the most searched asset type? I need. I have in the back of my head. I saw a tweet weeks ago that was about this, and I can't remember the details. So I think I know what it might be, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do put that out. So that is one of the things that we put out on a monthly basis in terms of our most search asset type. So I have to see what it is from last month, because it always is changing, and then depending on market. So car washes has been the most searched.
That's the one.
Recently, yes. So that is as of current. People love car washes, especially right now, but we always put those out in terms of monthly basis. So check our Instagram and our LinkedIn and all of our blogs and things, and you'll get the most up-to-date searches.
And for people who are thinking right now, they're like, because car washes is what I saw a tweet about. And for people who are thinking who's talking about car washes? If you haven't searched the groups that are on Facebook that go, down to in each individual nut and bolt of how to run a car wash, it is phenomenal. I'm in a few. I have no business being in them.
You're a fly on the wall, not typing anything, just seeing what the group chat's writing.
I want to learn about these things, and so it's just interesting to me. That's an asset type. I have more questions on that, but they're for personal gain, maybe not best here. I do want to pivot a little bit, because Ashley, you've been in sales for a long time, almost 13 years. A thing or two about when it comes to putting together a successful team. Obviously, you work at a technology company, so leveraging a tech stack to your advantage and being most efficient with that. What are some of the universal truths that apply both when you think about your role inside of a larger organization that's providing technology to brokers, but also what are some things that brokers can learn from the truths that you discovered in your own career about building the right sales team?
Oh, that is a great question. Twofold. So I'll take this in a couple of different ways. I think that it's so important when building a sales team to have a level of transparency and communication with your peers, your subordinates, the people you report to, personally and professionally. So I think coming from, a SaaS software perspective, I started the company when we were pretty small, again, 4.5 years ago. You guys talked about just our tremendous growth in the last 12 months. It's just grown exponentially. And every single step of the way, every person from, the person that was just employed up to our CEO, Mike, there's just such a level of transparency and communication and openness. So it's hey, these are our goals. This is what we're doing. This is our roadmap. And then, kind of saying the openness as well. Hey, we want to hear from everyone, right? If you have an idea, maybe we haven't thought about it. We want to hear from you. And having that openness to collaboration, I think really propels forward. I've been a leader on sales teams as well. And I think just what's really helped me from a leadership mindset is I've always said to my sales teams, I work for you and we work together, right? So knowing that someone has your back, you're a unit, you're extremely loyal. And we are truly a team. It's not just someone like, hey, you need to hit your metrics or barking orders, or this is, the revenue metric that we need to hit. It's like, how do we all get there together? I think is really important. And then the same exact thing goes for like to your clients, right? As much as you can be open to feedback, right? Again, as I mentioned, a lot of our roadmap comes from clients. So we take feedback very seriously. So open to receiving that, being transparent about timelines, being transparent about what the sales can do, what the product can do, what it cannot do. So what are the limitations, right? Under promise, always still over deliver is always one of the sayings that I like to use. And just, again, going back to, that transparency, trust, and communication. And I think if you have all of those things, you're going to create a successful team around you.
Yeah. I mean, I think, building a great sales team comes from the top down, right? And having that transparency matters a lot. And, we haven't been big adopters of commercial real estate platforms, but we did have somebody from Crexi come to our office, 6 or 9 months ago now. Awesome guy. Of course, I'm blanking on his name.
Nick Basala.
Yeah, Nick. and so a sales team is only as good as the product that they have, in my opinion, that they are out there working to sell.
For sure.
And what really sold us on moving forward with utilizing Crexi was the auction function that you guys have, which I think is a really unique component for commercial real estate brokers. So can you talk to us about what the auction section of the website does?
Yeah, for sure. So we have an entire auction team. They are absolutely fantastic. Most of them do come from former brokerage world. So we have a lot of folks that were brokers for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, some of them. We have auctions taking place every Wednesday. We actually had one today. It was super exciting. So we're able to see the bidding process. I was overhearing one of my colleagues, Yanni, on a call with the owner and said, all right, next bid, we're hitting the reserve. You got to sell, and it's just a really exciting environment. So if anyone listening is interested in that, we've done the largest auction to be done online ever. It was with Clark County in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Absolutely fantastic, winning bids over our competitors and things like that, and just building relationships. So if anyone is interested about an auction, if you're an owner, if you are a broker, you have something, always let us know. We're happy to do a consultation on it and then go through the specifics of what that looks like. But we run them every Wednesday and they're so successful.
Every Wednesday there's an auction?
Almost every Wednesday.
I feel like I need a ticker
where we don't, but
yeah. Is there can we throw these ideas out here? Like Crexi marketing team, can we get auctions at Crexi on Twitter, and like every Wednesday I can just follow the live auction? It just tweets out the new bid.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That's an idea. I'm gonna write that down and see what we have.
And then the moment it closes, all the reporters are following it, and then they can do the story, write up the sale.
It's actually brilliant because there's a lot of commercial real estate investors on Twitter. Like that has always surprised me how much commercial real estate is done on Twitter.
Oh yeah, a lot of them. We're actually doing an event with Strip Mall guy. If you're familiar with him, Don, he's awesome. He's going to be in New York City. We're sponsoring one of his events, and we just got connected via Twitter, and he became a really good friend, mine personally, but also to Crexi. Is a huge supporter, and connections will be made through social media. Deals are done through social media. I can't tell you how many times I've seen success stories like that. So Twitter is definitely a way to go. I like that idea.
I'm trying to imagine the pitch to someone to sign off on the budget to sponsor, because at that time I think Strip Mall guy was like still pretty anonymous to who he was. It's like, how do you go to the you take that up to the top of like, so we want to sponsor this guy's thing. By the way, we've never met him or seen him. We're not really sure who he is.
He's just a cartoon figure on Twitter.
Yeah, so we did another one of his events in New York City. I think it was last year, maybe around October or so. And he was definitely still really anonymous, and we had a photo with all of the Crexi people and him, and we had to put his little icon over his face because he wasn't out yet. And it was awesome. But yeah,
I do love it. Well, we're gonna kind of pull things together here and towards the wrap, but I do want to like kind of close in. There was something that you had mentioned, listening into brokers, gathering feedback. Obviously, that's important. Anyone building a tech product is using that feedback to make improvements. Of the feedback that you've been hearing in the last year, obviously there's been tons of different things happening in real estate. Obviously, office going through what it's going through, storage had its moment, maybe not so much in the sunshine these days. And of course, car washes going bananas. Is there some themes that you can extract from the feedback that you're hearing from brokers that crosses some of those different asset classes, or maybe those different asset classes, there's very different and distinct themes that you're hearing from those that you're working with and partnering with?
Yeah, it's a great question. Again, I wish I had a crystal ball, but the theme is deals are still getting done, right? I mean, office, sure, it's going a little bit further down, but now you can get office on the cheap. So, and then you can repurpose it, right? People are creating those into multifamily and things like that. Obviously, car washes are really big. Retail is back, right? Multifamily, I don't think is ever going to go away. People are always going to need a place to live. So that's always a safe bet. But in terms of general market overlook, still very, very bullish. People are getting deals done. Some people are, maybe if they don't need to sell right now, maybe they're holding on to property a little bit longer, but people are still in the name of the game to transact commercial real estate. And if you're a newcomer to it, don't be scared to come in now. If you're a newcomer to purchasing, to individual investing, it's still a good time. Because if you can do something in a hard market, then when it is better, you just have all of that as well. So any new brokers as well, same exact thing. If you can make it in a slower market, just think about how much better you're going to do when we're a little bit better further on, which there's light at the end of the tunnel right now. It's already been going up and it's just going to continue to go that way.
Ashley, I love it. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. If anybody listening wants to learn more about you all or follow you on socials, where can they find you?
Yep. My Instagram is A_KOBY. I'll always be tagged in on Crexi podcasts and things like that. My cell phone number is the easiest way to get in touch. If you're looking for partnerships, if you're looking to get individual accounts, it's 908-447-2437. Don't judge me. I am from New Jersey. Please don't hold it against me. Give me a pardon.
I was nice the whole time. I didn't say one lick about Jersey.
And my email address is ashleyk@crexi.com.
Awesome. Well, Nate, thanks for joining me, man. Looking forward to hosting our next one next month. This is great.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going.
It's great. Had a great time.
Ashley, appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next one. This episode of the Commercial Real Estate Investor Podcast is brought to you by CRE Launch Pro. This online commercial real estate program is designed to take you from beginner to pro commercial real estate investor with access to all of my courses, our online community, and monthly group coaching calls. Learn how to confidently buy your first commercial property today at www.crelaunchpro.com.